Ask the Mayor. Your chance to ask the Mayor of Weymouth, Bob Hedlund, questions about the town and or anything else that you have concerns about. Ask the Mayor is pre-recorded. And now, Ask the Mayor with Bob Hedlund.
And in the interest of a little redundancy, I am Dana Hersey, and this is Ask the Mayor with Bob Hedlund. Bob, it's been a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you,
Been
Dana.
a pleasure.
After
I mean,
all
last
these years.
week, of course, we did some letters. I can start off with a letter, and then Melody can jump in.
Once again,
there.
we'll thank you for being, part of the inspiration for the show, the great work that you guys did at Channel 38.
Well, that was too easy, but I certainly appreciate your appreciating
A
it.
legend in Boston.
You want me to do
and
one
in the
letter, or
TV
do you
world.
want to?
Go, yes, please.
All right, I can do. I'll do one letter. Are you ready?
Okay.
Find a short letter here. All right. This is from Michael Lane from the Weather Vane, South Weymouth.
Uh-oh.
Oh. You know Michael?
No, we know Weather Vane.
He could go to the bottom
We
of the
know
pile.
Weather Vane.
All right. Michael says, when does... this is Michael now. Dear Mayor, this is interesting. Regarding Comcast exclusivity contract with Weymouth, when does the 10-year contract with Comcast expire?
Well, this is right up your alley, having been in Celestial TV.
Celestial TV? Well, maybe
Terrestrial.
Some people say it was in Celestial.
Yeah, I know.
My entire career has been in Celestial TV.
So they have a 10-year, actually Mary should jump in here and answer this, but it's not so much an exclusive, it's the fact that nobody else wants to come in and bid and wire the town. Right. So, the last arrangement, i.e. contract, was signed by the previous administration, I think the last year of her tenure, so that would be 2025. Well, no, what year?
It's April 24th, 2026.
26, okay, I was off by a couple months. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. But we don't know what the landscape's going to look like technologically speaking by then. There's all these alternatives now. People are cutting the cord. Who knows? And I think we're in a less competitive situation. We have had Verizon in here to talk to them. There's no interest.
Yeah.
So in answer to his question, it expires in 2026. It's not really an exclusive. It's just an exclusive, if you will, by default. So.
Yeah, that's the big problem. You can't get anybody even to come in.
If I had my way, we'd go back to the way it was. I'd be adjusting those rabbit ears. I'd be watching the TV 38. I'd be complaining they're not running the Three Stooges.
That's right.
We'd be watching the Bruins
It'd be
game
only
with
like 3 channels that you'd be doing. That's like
static coming in. So
Right.
anyway, it's an honor, Dana Hersey,
It's been an honor to be here. Thank
Boston
you very much,
radio and TV legend.
Thank you very much. Honor being here. And nice to read some of your letters out there, folks. I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Melody.
And we're back. I'm Dana Hersey from the Movie Loft, and I'm with Bob. No, I'm Jim Melody. What a pleasure. Absolutely the high point of 71 shows, Bob.
And you were not in on that. You didn't know he was coming.
Not in any way, shape, or form.
What went through your head when you walked in?
I was thrilled. Well, as we've recalled, I worked with him at 2 different places. So I was
never
never
met him before. Is what you're saying?
Yes, but again, I'm an ad sales guy. He's talent. We weren't arguably supposed to interact, but he was always such a good guy. We knew each other by face.
Mary got me good on that.
That was phenomenal.
So I walked through the door. I said, "You got to be kidding."
And you did a great job. And he is the inspiration for the show, as you identified.
So we've restored order now, and we're back to
Order in the
serious
court, so
business.
we're moving
let's
forward, Rob. With Ask the Mayor, this one's from Jason Thayer. Dear Mayor, I'm not sure the name of the ball field on Lake Street, but is there any plan on enhancing the property? A concerned, self-proclaimed great pitcher, former softball player like myself. Thanks from Iron Mike Sharp. I don't really follow the logic here, but are you doing anything with the Lake Street property in the ball field?
Okay, this makes me sad because in 2016, enhancements were made. That was a dirt parking lot. The parking lot was paved. There were weeds bigger than you growing up in front of the backstop. New backstop was put in. It's not to the standards I would like. An irrigation system was put in, which they had some difficulty with. So they've been tweaking that. The grass hasn't really taken like we had hoped. As a result, it is finally now getting some water. And as one who plays on it still, the infield's a little bit rough. So incrementally, there was some significant work done, I guess you could say, and it needs some incremental tweaking to really make it a first-class facility. But as it stacks up against other men's softball fields around the South Shore, it's not bad. And a new outfield fence was put in too.
Well, it sounds like you're on the job. So this thing is
So
being
I don't know.
enhanced.
He says he's a retired pitcher.
I think he was referring to you when he says a concerned, self-proclaimed great pitcher, former softball player. I guess he is talking about himself. Yeah. Who's Iron Mike Sharp?
So, he'll put a clip in.
Iron Mike looks pretty good here. Iron Mike is very good. Whoa!
Okay, there you go. All right, let's keep moving forward.
I'm surprised, a pop culture reference that got by you, Iron Mike Sharp.
Really
Canada's greatest athlete, with Wayne Gretzky a close second.
What sport? Hockey?
Pro wrestling.
Pro wrestling. Of course, I should know by now. Okay, let's keep moving forward. You want questions? You're getting questions, my friend. Ask the mayor. Mayor, this is from Jen Manning. Mayor, I was visiting a friend on Puritan Road and was horrified at the speed of traffic. This friend has 3 small kids, and the way the cars were flying, it's a disaster waiting to happen. It made me sick leaving that this is what she deals with on a daily basis. She said most cars end up at Great Esker Park. Wondering if there's anything that you can do to prevent this. Speed bumps down the length of the road, perhaps. Honestly, it is bad, and that was in capital.
It's bad
letters.
everywhere.
Okay.
It's bad on my
speeding,
street.
Yeah.
I live off Essex. Essex is bad. The side streets are bad. The disregard that people have for other people's safety, common sense rules is troubling. It's everywhere.
One of the things we talked about was those digital signs, though, Bob. I thought those were doing a great job. Those digital readouts that identify your speed as you're going down the road.
But that's a dead-end road. I mean, we're not going to. We can't make that investment on a dead-end road. Now, I know it's used for people to get to the park, and I think you have a friend on that street that you hang around with a lot, and I hope that it's not you speeding when you go to visit him.
I can neither confirm nor deny. No, I go.
Do you know who I'm referring to?
I don't actually.
I believe that your best friend lives on that street.
My best friend that lives in Marshfield.
Last time I saw you out and about, you were with him. Who's your best friend that you socialize with? And
you know, I have varied acquaintances. Some I'd like to identify publicly.
This guy you might not want to identify publicly.
Well, can you be a little bit more specific?
His first name begins with a D.
Dave, Dennis, Donnie, Dougie Bettle.
No, Dan.
Danny Antonovich. Oh, I love Danny.
You don't speed on that street, do you, when you visit him?
I don't visit him. We're not talking. No, I'm kidding. I love Danny. And Jason lives as close as Danny does, for heaven's sakes.
Well, drive, with some common sense when you're in that neighborhood.
I
please.
promise
but
I do.
Seriously, on the question, seriously,
really do.
It's a problem everywhere. I was out in front of my house with 2 of my neighbors. We witnessed a guy. One of the neighbors who has a young kid who happened to be
on your road?
On my road.
Holy smokes.
And I'm on a similar road like hers.
Yeah, it's kind of
I probably get the same amount of traffic she does.
Oh boy.
It's we're in a cul-de-sac dead end almost kind of situation.
Speeding's an issue.
One of the neighbors actually visited the person and spoke to them about the speed that their kid was traveling in the neighborhood on the neighborhood street. So
it's tough stuff.
People at least do the best that they have with the resources that they have. I don't know what to say, but speed bumps aren't going to happen on Puritan Road.
Well, it sounds like it's up to everybody who's viewing. Try to do your best and go the speed limit. It's basically 30 on every road around town, isn't it? And on the small streets, it's 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
I think
it's
25. We don't have the minimum. Braintree just lowered their minimum to 20, but we have targeted areas for 20.
Well, we're going to keep moving forward, Bob. This one is from Susan Torres, and it's regarding the compressor station, I presume. Dear Bob, I do not want to scare people, but why would anyone want to put something explosive underneath the bridge? I am referring to the plans to put a 7,700 horsepower compressor underneath the Fall River Bridge. I know that you were opposed to the compressor station, along with 2 other mayors and 17 legislators. Is there any law about how close something explosive can be to a bridge? It feels like a nightmare that no one is concerned for us in Weymouth. No one has the power to veto this. From Suzanne Torres. What's your thoughts on that,
we've been
Bob?
through this a lot. The bridge, there's actually some pending legislation filed by one of our legislators, it may have been Senator O'Connor, that would preclude this kind of facility from being sited to bridge, to daycare, school, et cetera. Obviously, that's not going to impact this given the timing, but we've made these arguments in multiple lawsuits. I think 17, 21 lawsuits in that range. I can't remember the actual number now. But in answer to her question again, why would anyone want to locate something there? The gas company obviously does, and we've tried to work with them for alternative sites. One of the things that's lost on me with the amount of money that they offered us previously as mitigation to kind of drop our lawsuits, it was such a significant number over and above what they've given any community. I don't understand why this is as attractive to them as some of the alternative sites, and especially having to go through all of these lawsuits and litigation. But this is the site they want, and this is the site that their process under the federal law has led us to.
Bob, I'm no mechanical engineer, but how is a 7,700 horsepower compressor defined as something that's explosive?
Because it pushes gas through.
So it's not the compressor itself; it's just the gas that's running through it that is a potential to be explosive. Okay.
Correct. And then there's blow-offs occasionally, and that puts pollutants into the air in densely populated area.
Well, I know the town's invested a ton of time and money into fighting them, and the fight goes
The
on.
town has, citizens groups have, other communities have joined the fight and have spent time also.
And it's ongoing, correct? No final decisions have been made, right?
Correct. I mean, we had a couple of bad decisions last week, as you know, from
Right.
the air quality permit being issued, which we are in that process of appealing. In fact, I have a meeting, I think, either tomorrow or the next day with FRAX, the leading citizens group, to talk about some strategy moving forward.
Excellent. So the fight continues, it sounds like. All right, Bob, this one's from Ed Hartnett. Dear Bob, hello, Mayor Bob and Jim. I ain't gonna eat out my heart anymore melody. Mayor Bob, I have
It's a song, Mary.
I hadn't heard it either, Mayor. Mayor Bob, I have a question or two for you on permanent bathrooms versus porta potties.
Yes.
I know at least two to three permanent bathrooms in town and several parks that they use porta potties. My question is the town considering future permanent bathrooms for more parks, or will the porta potties win out over permanent ones? Could town water and sewer be hooked up to provide better and more permanent facilities? What are the pros and cons? Thank you, Ed Hartnett.
The pros are it's a better place to relieve yourself than a porta potty, I would guess, and the con is the cost.
I would imagine.
So
And the maintenance. If you build them, you got to maintain them, right?
Yeah. So with the park improvements, we would have liked to have done them everywhere. King Oak Hill Park actually has some really nice bathrooms.
Permanent facilities you can walk into?
Yeah. Obviously Lovell. I think. The concession stand over there. Well, yeah, Lovell has bathrooms, right? Yeah. I haven't used them yet, but I've been in the King Oak Hill Park ones. I haven't been in the Lovell ones. The across the street at Libby, we are under some pressure by a multitude of sources about bathrooms. We have accommodated in the plans a site for that, but the budget wouldn't allow for the construction. It was extremely, extremely expensive. The bids that came in were very expensive to put bathrooms over there. The reason we're under pressure on that is it precludes the use of the field by some organizations without the bathrooms, like that host tournaments, for instance. They have certain criteria to put tournaments on there. But, it was accommodated in the plans for potentially future construction.
It sounds like it would be quite a project. I mean, if you put permanent bathroom facilities at all the fields.
Now I have to go on a fact-finding mission and check the bathrooms.
Which one? Who's one? Well, listen. We'll keep moving
But
forward.
I
then.
encourage Ed to visit the ones at King Oak Hill Park. They're nice before they get ruined.
Stop by when you can.
And I'll say that to be just to be candid, the bathroom at we have them at O'Sullivan, we have them at Negus, we have them at Lane Beach, we have them at Stella Terrell, and some of those have been around for a long time, and some of them leave a little bit to be desired. I think the Renewsit air fresheners are worn out.
Is there still one at the old beach, Mary? Remember that one was a disaster.
And by the way, so of all the ones that we named, those four that I just named, I've been in all of them. I've been in King Oak Hill Park, so I got to complete the circuit. And I got to check out Lovell.
And I think if you've been in one porta potty, you've been in them all.
But part of this is we try to keep up on the maintenance, and part of it is the disrespect people have sometimes for public property. The one up at Stella, when I was in it recently, was just horrendous.
Disaster.
Well,
good luck with that, because
Cal
that
Ripken
sounds like
does a
challenge.
fairly good job keeping the ones clean, at helping us keep the ones clean at Negus, for instance. Yeah. Did I say Negus? The ones at Fulton School.
Well,
I'm getting confused with all these bathrooms.
yeah,
But go ahead.
geez,
Next question. Enough about bathrooms.
Public toilets, I mean, they speak for themselves. Hey, we want to remind everybody to keep the questions coming in to askmayorbob@gmail.com. Askmayorbob@gmail.com, and you too could have your question read aloud. At
We pulling a mug
future
today,
episode of Ask
too?
the Mayor. Bob, this one it says a question from Linneman. Is there an update on the Whitman Pond Vegetation Management Action Plan? There seems to still be a problem with the white water lily.
Milkwort, white water. I'm becoming an expert on this stuff because of the meetings I've sat through recently.
That sounds lovely. If there was a bunch of white water lilies, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No, they're choking the life out of the place.
is that-
So, I
oh,
mean, we
okay.
got
Okay.
invasive species galore in there. Won't get into obviously how it's happened over the years, but there's things that contribute to it. The town did invest, was part of the L-Star mitigation money that paid for the weed harvester.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be, we're changing it up. You're not going to see the weed harvester along Middle Street this year. You're going to see it further over towards the South Cove area. Part of the problem with the weed harvester, yes, it extracts the weeds, but it also disrupts the milkwort, and it helps it spread and fan out and vegetates elsewhere because of how it breeds, if you will. Wow. We're looking at a pilot program now. The town's looked at different stuff through the years, drawdowns, things that environmental permitting issues get in the way, et cetera. We think we're onto something now. We're going to do a trial program. Conservation's kind of working through this right now. We may do it, where we actually have divers that go down and pull things out by the roots.
Boy.
And I didn't think it was cost effective, but it turns out that it's not as labor intensive as the proponents that made the presentation to us that we would have believed. And they're eager to demonstrate to us a pilot project at a very reasonable price. So I think that we're going to see late this summer some activity along Middle Street side where it's very noticeable from the road, and see how that works and monitor that. It might be even more cost effective and effective than some of the labor involved in running the weed harvester.
Machine. Boy, the things that come across your desk, Robert, they're varied and different, that's for sure. Who would have thought that that would be an issue in our town? But it's significant, it sounds like, huh?
It's everywhere. We're actually in the process of possibly renting out the weed harvester to a neighboring community that wants to use it and try it out on a problem area that they have.
Well, I love that when you share with other towns. I mean, that just seems to make sense from where I'm sitting in this chair. The command chair, I believe Mr. Hersey referred to it as. Ask the mayor. From Don Stewart. The former base was tested, but I'm wondering if the drinking water was tested. I do not believe it should be tested. If not, I believe it should be tested at least every 6 months or even more frequently due to the location of the former air base and its close proximity to our water supply, especially the Liberty Street wells in Whitman's Pond. It is better to be proactive rather than reactive. That's again from Don Stewart. So are we testing the water over there
So
by the base?
this is interesting. So Mr. Stewart actually emailed us directly and asked the mayor, so I was aware of this question.
Excellent.
Which is a good thing because he references an actual type of contaminant that he believes, or some kind of, not contaminant, but some water quality issue. Does he say what the name of it is?
And again, that's the same train, same track.
never heard this
well,
word.
the word is
I-
profan.
Polyfluoroalkyl,
Or P.
otherwise known as PFAS.
PFAS, of course.
So we don't test for that. Water department goes by what the DEP guidelines are for water quality testing, and we try to adhere to that. And they do adhere to that. I know that there was a reporting snafu back in '16, but otherwise, water department, I should say, has done a pretty good job on that. And what the water department informed us with this email, which I'm glad he emailed us both because I wouldn't have been able to answer this question on Ask the Mayor, and it would have gone into the
Circular
follow-up file.
Yes.
But DEP is working on a change to their monitoring laws that would include testing for PFAS. And I don't know much about PFAS, do you?
First time I heard the word.
Sometimes you back us up on Weymouth-related things. So the current laws don't require the testing, and part of any new testing, DEP sets the allowable levels. So they're going to be including that in their standards moving forward. And I'm real curious now what PFAS is all about.
Well, you know, as I just said, Bob, the things that come across your desk. And Bob, speaking of things coming across your desk, let's talk about the desk. It's not an official question, but I thought there was one in here related to your decision to run for a second term. Can you comment on that at all? And I think there's a lot of folks in town that are excited about that decision.
We got that question previous show, right?
Well, the question was, Joe Sullivan asked you, were you running?
Joe
And you
Sullivan, right,
successfully
right.
dodged that, if you recall. You did.
Probably by the time this episode airs, nomination papers will be available in the clerk's office. So,
Will you be seeking those nomination papers?
you know,
Is it a yes or no question, Mr. Mayor?
we've had quite the array of guest inquisitors.
Yes, we
lately.
have. There's been a couple of great shows.
We're going to have to get Sean McDonough next. Yeah, so I pulled papers and we actually turned them in and qualified. I know that a lot of the other candidates have turned their papers in.
Oh, are there? Do you have competitors? I wasn't familiar.
No, I'm saying like
Okay.
council candidates,
Okay, there you
school
go,
committee,
yeah.
many have already complied, so the races are shaping up
Okay.
as you move forward.
Do you have an official competition or any competition at all?
Well, I think official would be when people are actually have ballot status, right? And the ballots are printed up. I mean, because you can withdraw it.
Oh, the collection of signatures. Are you aware of anybody else collecting signatures?
I have seen some stuff on social media come up recently that, yes, there's a gentleman that I guess he had been running for council and now pulled papers for mayor.
Now, was this a difficult decision for you? I know you had, I think you had some thoughts, you know, the pros and cons.
I mean, I had some personal stuff I was thinking about,
Okay.
so
But the decision has been made, needless to say, huh?
we turned our papers in, right?
Excellent. Excellent. And as we look to conclude this episode of Ask the Mayor, we want to remind everybody, of course, to keep the questions coming in to askmayorbob@gmail.com.
So-
And I think we have time to give away a mug, Bob.
It's an election year, right? So maybe I shouldn't pull this because then people who didn't win might get mad at me. Right?
Well, there could be a hanging Chad. Let's see who we have. Who is today's lucky winner of an Ask the Mayor mug?
You got a fair amount of.
This one's from last time, too.
Well, well, Bob, needless to say, Bob and I have been on the town at different points since the last taping, and people are coming up out of the woodwork to tell us how much they love this show. Wouldn't you say, Bob?
I actually witnessed this. This was unbelievable. I witnessed this. It was awful. They just.
Phenomenal. I see phenomenal. He says awful.
She goes, "Oh, I love Jim," and he was there. He was there. I said, "Well, tell him." And she's falling all over herself to tell him how great he was. I
You'd be
witnessed it.
surprised how
It was
infrequently that
amazing.
occurs.
And then she said, "Oh, by the way, thank you for your service to our town." I said, "No problem." After telling him how great he is on the show, but let's get to that. Jim. Enough accolades for you.
I was
Fanfare.
just trying to, it was for both of us. I'd like to think it was two.
I was
for
very
both of
impressed
us.
with how fawning she was about him, and her husband was standing right there too. By the way.
It's my new aftershave. Wassagusset Beach. All right, so you want me to pull this? Da, 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 da,
What do you
da.
wear, Stetson?
Da, da. I wear Whitman's Bond. Sandra Peters has won a mug. I'm not sure if we know Sandra.
She was one of the questions.
Okay,
for
I
the
didn't know
last
if
show.
you knew her.
She asked the question in the last show about the banners in Bicknell Square.
Phenomenal. Sandra, you are the lucky winner of an Ask the Mayor mug. Bob, is there any chance you may autograph this mug and send it off to her?
We should have had Dana autograph it.
I know I got my autographed Dana Hersey mug. Well, looks like we're wrapping up an episode of Ask the Mayor. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. As always, everybody, hope you have a great summer. Bob, actually, before we go, any summer events that you'd like to promote as we walk out the door? I saw the Ayla Brown poster.
No, tune into the Zone. They'll be updating the Zone soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, a lot of great
so
things
that I
going
don't
on.
have to watch July 3rd promotions on
Awesome.
July 5th.
A lot of great events coming up in town for sure. All right, thanks again for tuning in, everybody. Robert, stay tuned for. Did we do the flying nun yet?
Excellent one. We've never done
Thank
that.
you.
Karen,
That's
what
why
was her
he
name?
keeps me
Karen
around.
Valentine?
Okay, it was Karen Valentine. Yes. Yeah.
Huh?
Sally Field. Oh, I thought it was
Sally
Karen.
Fields.
What was Karen Valentine?
Karen Valentine was in
Did
room
you?
222.
Room
wasn't she?
222. Yes. Have a great summer, everybody.
If you have a question, please email the mayor at askmayorbob@gmail.com. That's askmayorbob@gmail.com. Maybe your question will be answered on the next episode of Ask the Mayor.